again, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And I have to say, I want to apologize in advance. You know how much I love you all, but I must show you the image that is in front of you right now. I know it's around dinner time for some of you, and some of you may want to hurl at the sight of this absolute disgusting monster that is sitting in front of you. This is Megan Rapinoe. She was a girls football player, soccer player, whatever you want to call it, for the U.S. national team, and there was nothing U.S. or national about her. She is as decisive, divisive, hateful, and utterly demonic as it gets, and she hates the country that has given her a platform to voice her opinions. If Megan Rapinoe, who is if you can't tell, I'll let the cat out of the bag. We're going to assume that she is a lesbian. Hardy har har. She is on a podcast with her girlfriend. I'm not going to call her a wife because these people that's ridiculous. Sue Bird, who was a point guard for the Yukon Huskies way back in the day. And they're talking about, and they're blasting the U.S. men's hockey team for not winning the gold medal, but for what happened afterwards, the adulation that the team is receiving, the fact that this Kash Patel guy was, drinking a beer and in the locker room, the fact that they're going to go see Trump. Oh, well, they went to the State of the Union, and they're all for this whole Trump thing, right? They received Trump's phone call and all this stuff that happens when teams win championships. When teams put aside whatever their political views are, and they accept the phone call. Not accept, they take the phone call with honor from the president. Joe Montana won 4 Super Bowls. 3 of them were with Ronald Reagan. 1 was with George H.W. Bush. I don't know who Joe Montana voted for. Nobody cares. He never said, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, no. The 49ers, with grace, went to the White House to do what the traditional thing for championship teams to do is: you win the World Series, you win the Super Bowl, the NBA title, Stanley Cup, whatever. You go and you have an audience with the president. It's symbolic. It's traditional. The fans love it. It's like an hour out of their day. And a lot of the times, the players seemed honored to be there. But not Megan. She is so vile and so disgusting. And see that face? This is a biological woman who is trying desperately to be a man. The hat, the look. Sue Bird looks more woman-like, so she probably takes the role of the traditional woman. But Megan tries to be, kind of guyish. Honey, it's not working. You look like a fool. You are embarrassing, humiliating your ancestors. And she goes on her podcast here, and she blasts the U.S. men. Blasting Trump. Trump doesn't give a shit. But why blast these hockey players? What did they do to you? What do these guys ever do to any of you liberals that you just can't take a moment where the United States is shining? And there aren't a lot of moments when the United States shine nowadays. And you have to turn it into something divisive, something that is so ugly, like you. You can't find anything nice to say. Everything always has to be negative. Everything has to be, based on your side. And for people that are so interested in being inclusive and included in everything, they sure like to shut other people out. If you vote for Donald Trump, if you are a Republican, if you're a Christian, they don't want any part of you. Let's see what this thing has to say. I hate covering stories like this, but you have to see it. You have to watch it. Because this is what the country is steering towards, unfortunately. People like this garbage, and little girls look up to this kid, that look up to this monster, and they shouldn't. You got to wonder, and I know now I'm ranting. The U.S. women's team, U.S. hockey, WNBA, they don't have large audiences. Let's say there are 10 million people that watch U.S. women's soccer, and that's a lot. For shits and giggles, let's say that 50-50 conservative liberals watch and put their money into this league. By alienating the right side of your fan base, you're risking losing 50% of your business, and 50% of a dying business. Well, not even dying. It was never alive. It's barely surviving. You couldn't get me to watch a women's soccer game, unless it's in high school, to say, even in high school, frankly, just if the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders were waiting for me after the game, well, maybe. But who the fuck wants to watch U.S. women's soccer? It's awful. The women hockey team, they play the sport terribly. These are men's athletics. And these women have a platform, and you would think that they would be graceful and appreciative enough to say, you know what? We have a platform where we have our own thing. We're playing. Yeah, we're not like the guys. We're not going to make as much money as the guys, but at least we have the opportunity. And maybe if we put a great product in, we won't get the money one day, but one day, maybe there will be a chance that girls do make money doing this. Maybe. And I would root for that. I would root for that. And I think you would too. But these people are they're just so ugly in their attitude and their stance that they make you root against them. You want to see them fail. And that's not something that, as Christ followers, we want to do. We don't want to see our fellow man fail. You want to root for them. You want to lift them up. But this person here doesn't, and I use that term lightly, doesn't allow that. She doesn't want that. She wants you to hate her because all she has in her is hate and hell. All women carry hell within them. All of them. They are incapable of love. Look at the stats. 50% of marriages between men and women end in divorce. 28% of these legalized unions between men and men end in divorce. Women legalized unions, 72% end in divorce. It ain't the guy problem. It ain't the guy problem. I think we know where the problem lies. And you know that this thing and Sue Bird, her, I guess, I don't know if they're married. I don't care. They're not married. They just have a contract. They will be divorced within 10 years. And I'm being generous when I give them that 10 years. But here's Megan Rapinoe with her bile talking about the U.S. men's team, Trump, and Cash Patel.
I know what happens in those locker rooms.
I know.
Yeah, same. People get brought in.
Oh, same.
Or
you have no say sometimes.
And all of a sudden,
it's happening.
you're in.
That's a great point.
You're in, and you're like,
part of the truth.
fuck. Like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, you're shaking the hand of
Whoever.
someone that you've railed on because
Yeah.
like they're, doing inequality against you, whatever, for just to put it bluntly.
What inequality is going on? Is anybody telling her not to talk? Is anybody stopping her from speaking? Can she not live in the United States as a free person? Where is this inequality that she's talking about? She has all the rights in the world. Let me see her deal with inequality in Qatar. Let me see her deal with inequality in Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Iran, Turkey. Let me see her deal with inequality there.
The choice point, and I don't know exactly who made this. Is it someone at USA Hockey?
No, it came
Is
out.
it-
The GM of U.S. Hockey is also the GM of the Wild, and I read an article, and I guess what I wasn't clear on, he might be friends with Kash Patel or like
Mhm.
somebody, and I think that was the connecting point.
Okay, fine, whatever. The choice point is allowing yourself, and listen, if I always say this, like, I can't believe how people have such a lack of self-preservation. But if you don't think you're in threat, then you're not going to preserve. So they obviously didn't think that having Kash Patel or having Trump on the phone was a threat. So they're cool with it.
What threat? Where is the threat? Whose life is on the line here? Who's in danger here? Listen to the words. Listen to the semantics she's using. A threat. Oh, fuck. Look who's coming into our locker room. Get the...
But that's why you don't put yourself in this position. Because to have the president of the United States on the phone and he's like, her, it's hard not to be like, her. Like you get yourself wrapped in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the choice point is like, I would have never, as a captain or a leader on my team, I think you can say the same. I think that would have been clear to our staffs and to the larger organization and support staff. Those people would never be allowed in our locker room.
Okay, let's make one thing abundantly clear, and this is the end of the clip. She has no say in that. She's just a player. Her position as captain is fucking symbolic. That's all it is. She gets to have a C wrapped around her arm. That's all. She doesn't tell anybody what to do. Now, does she have influence? Can she bully some weaker teammates into saying, hey, we're not going to the White House. You're not, I'm not going to the White House. You're not either. Or we're not talking. Yeah, it happens. But if Donald Trump wants to walk into that locker room and have a photo op, he's going to get it. And you can walk away. You can turn your head. You can cover your face with the whatever. But it only makes you look like an ass. And you're alienating fans of your product, which isn't a lot. And you're steering them away. And her staff or whoever she's talking about, they're going to tell her that, hey, honey, you have no say in this. We're not going to piss off our fans. It's a 2-second photo. You don't have to kiss Donald Trump. You don't even have to shake his hand. But there will be a photo op. And Megan's all big and tough, making the guys sound like doofuses. Listen, those guys make more money, and hockey players don't make as much money as baseball, football, or basketball players. Obviously, it's not as big of a sport, but they make more money in a year than she's made in her life because the sport is popular because of their skill and the action that it provides. Her game, women's soccer, not men's soccer in general, her game and the women's hockey game are garbage. It's not watchable. It's not entertaining. Little girls might like it because they see other women out there and it gives them hope that they can do something similar. But at the end of the day, no one is spending a tremendous amount of money to go to Madison Square Garden to see some New York professional hockey. And I don't even know if New York has a professional women's hockey team. But no one, I know New Jersey does. I'm going to show you a clip of something disgusting also. But no one's spending big time money to see chicks play. No one's spending big time money to see chicks play a men's sport anyway. A men's team sport. And this is the syndrome. This is what happens when there's no penis in your life. Look how angry these chicks are. This is no penis syndrome right here. They feel they have this aloofness. Oh, I would never allow that. Bitch, yes, you have. Yes, you would. You did it already. It's on. There's plenty of videos of you in 2019 at the fucking White House. So stop it. Stop with the lies. And just to show you what kind of person Megan Rapinoe is, here is a young male fan, and he looks Hispanic, so, you know, this is her, you know, this is her photo moment. Of course, she's not wearing a bra because she has to show the world her boobs, and with that stupid hair. Look at the disdain and disgust that this bitch has for this young fan who came up to her and asked her for an autograph. Just look at this. This is vile here. Are you kidding me? No one would know who this bitch is. No one would care. No one should care. But she has a platform. And for her to say in their utter moment of glory, it was ruined. They ruined it for themselves when they were co-opted by a clown, and now they look like clowns. Rapinoe calling players and Trump trash about the women's gold medal hockey team because Trump had said, oh, I guess I have to invite them too. Who gives a shit? Now, the women's hockey team disgraced themselves by declining an invitation to the State of the Union address. But U.S. Hockey, and here is where Megan would probably get pissed off, U.S. Hockey said later in a statement that the team would, in quotes, soon visit the White House. Now, of course, you're going to have one or two of these chicks who's going to be brave and say, I'm not going. And nobody would care. No one's going to remember these people in 10, 20 years unless they say stupid things like Megan Rapinoe did today. No one cares about these. They're not stars. They're not making an impact on culture. Nobody gives a fuck. And their vapidness is just insufferable. Now, you talk about insufferable. Look at this. Look at this disaster here. This is at a New Jersey professional, and I say that loosely and with all sincerity. Women's Professional Hockey League allowed a fan to ride on the back of a Zamboni. If you don't know hockey, if you're not familiar with hockey, Zamboni is what, you know, clears the ice, with an abolish ice flag at intermission. This is why they are so out of touch with their audience. So out of touch. Now, it looks like there are people who are screaming this. They're in approval, but... How the New Jersey Devils allowed this to be done on their ice rink is beyond me. Maybe they didn't know it. They'll probably have a word about it later. But that's where the country's at. This trash that is allowed a platform. And listen, we have freedom of speech, and you don't have to listen to it. But this garbage that is being spewed over and over and over and over and over again. These people have to understand that they're on the wrong side of history. Young people these Gen Zers and I think the next generation is called Alpha. They're not tolerating this. They are not going to fall for it. They don't want to have anything to do with any of this because they see how fake and vapid, and these people are paid. They're plastic. They're not even fucking recyclable. They're just some of these, they're vermin. And we should ignore them. It would be best to ignore them because they're going to run out of things to say, and the verbiage, it's just going to be recycled stuff. Now, they'll always have something to bitch about, but it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be Trump, threat, decisive, impromptu, blah, 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 blah. They're clowns, they're trash, yada, yada. It's going to be the same shit over and over and over again because women aren't very creative. But as we've said, we cover it, I cover it, just so you know what we're up against. Now, that isn't a lot to be worried about. But we cannot allow our daughters to morph into that type of trash. Can't have it. You cannot allow your daughter to look like Megan Rampone or behave like Megan Rampone because it'll only ruin her life. Because Megan Rampone's life is not great. Believe me, it's not. She can hide it all she wants. Look how angry she is. And somebody needs to throw a cheeseburger down her throat. She looks like something more out of the Ethiopian hockey team than America. And that's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Remember, my friend Satan is always busy. You just saw one of his demons at work. Be a man and have a backbone because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. Have a good week.